On June 11, 2022, 134 women veterans from around Kentucky gathered for breakfast at Bluegrass Airport, the beginning of the first all-female veterans trip organized by Honor Flight Kentucky.
Honor Flight's mission is to fly veterans from World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War to D.C. for a one-day, all-expenses-paid trip to visit the memorials dedicated to their service. We decided we needed an all-female flight because, first of all, it had never been done before in Kentucky, but women deserved that special event to bond with each other in this multi-generational trip to honor their service.
I sat at a table, and there were 8 of us, different services all around, and there was 130 years combined service to the military for Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines in 8 people, which was pretty impressive.
Headed to their plane, these veterans of different generations and conflicts were greeted by members of Rolling Thunder, longtime supporters of Honor Flight, holding an American flag high overhead as a send-off for these women.
Touching that flag, the music playing, you feel that tradition in your heart. All of the memories come back to why we were here. What was our rationale for joining the military? To support and serve our country no matter what.
Smiles and joy turned to somber moments for veterans like Ashley Hawkins of Harrodsburg. In Iraq, Hawkins earned a Bronze Star with valor in what would become known as the Palm Sunday Ambush, when her 9-member unit was called on to hold off over 50 insurgents attacking an American convoy. As their flight left the terminal, it received a water cannon salute, and the voices of these 134 veterans filled the plane. Patriotic singing continued as the group was greeted at Reagan Airport by the West Point Glee Club. The first stop for these veterans was the Women's Memorial for Military Service, dedicated at Arlington Cemetery in 1997. Each would receive a plaque inducting them into the museum.
So we inducted every single one of them into the Women's Memorial for Military Service in Arlington, one of the memorials that is dedicated solely to female service. I think that was very special for them.
Following lunch was a solemn moment for all veterans, as it is with all Americans: the changing of the guard at the tomb of the unknown soldier. This special honor flight would visit the World War II Memorial, and then it was on to the Lincoln Memorial. While appreciating all the hours Ashley Bruggeman and her organization of volunteers had put into their trip, everyone was overwhelmed at how, at every stop, there were groups greeting and honoring these women who had served their country.
Thank you for your service. Welcome.
It almost makes you want to cry, because it's so truly emotional to see the people that care so much to be right there in front of you, all the other veterans standing and supporting you.
Flanking the famed reflecting pool extending before Abraham Lincoln are memorials to those who served in Korea and Vietnam. Many on this honor flight remember what their service meant to them and to others.
I always look back on my service and look at all the amazing things I got to do. I got to build schools for girls that got to enjoy those schools for 20 years. And what I hope to believe is that those girls in Afghanistan, there is 20 years of education for those women right there.
Perhaps the most moving moment of the day was a wreath-laying ceremony at the statue dedicated to the nurses who served in Vietnam. The names of 8 nurses are etched forever on the wall. Frankie Zelaznik of Lexington was a nurse in Vietnam who found herself crawling under enemy fire across her medical compound to get to wounded soldiers needing her help. Along with fellow Kentuckians Marge Graves and Kathy Grumbeck, they remembered the legacy of the women who put their lives in harm's way.
All my Vietnam friends who are no longer alive, all the men we took care of that didn't make it, didn't hit me until they sprayed caps. I had to hold myself together.
I think we're the only two here that's from our units. For me to get to be a part of that and watch Frankie take the wreath to the Vietnam Memorial and being able to kind of share in her memories too, it was nice to be able to be a part of that.
This honor flight had one last stop, the Marine Memorial of Iwo Jima, where they were greeted by a 21-gun salute. Again, it was a moment that connected each veteran with all the women who had worn our country's uniform.
It's been the most amazing, well-planned, thoughtful day ever. I spent most of my military career alone, and I've been able to spend it amongst all these amazing women with their own amazing stories, and just, it's been overwhelmingly fabulous.
Back on the plane, after a 15-hour trip, this all-female flight would have one more welcome. Upon disembarking at Bluegrass Terminal, they found it filled with a cheering crowd, thanking them for their service and saying, "Welcome home."
Their comments afterwards were that they weren't even welcomed home like that when they returned from deployment. And so it was it sealed the deal for the day in letting them know that they are appreciated and that their service mattered.
Hey everybody, I'm Chip Colston and I am cherishing this Kentucky life. And if you enjoyed that story and would like to see more, click right here to see more.